Art Gallery, a tourism, educational and research center in Nigeria. Here we focus on Nike Art Gallery in Abuja. Nike Art is Nigeria's #1 leading art gallery with 5 galleries across the country, in Lagos, in Abuja, in Osogbo, and in the southwest. Nike Art Gallery has over 7,000 art pieces on site, including art books and an educational center where young artists are taught how to make artistic pieces and batik design. On our visit to Nike Art Gallery Abuja, we met with Mr. Lowo Africa, who gave us a tour on the gallery.
My name is Abimbola Oluwalowo. I'm tour guide and workshop manager at Nike Art Gallery Abuja. This is our Abuja Art Gallery, and then we have several artistic work, as you can see here. Like this place, this is our stage. Whenever we normally have a visitor, we normally receive them from this place. And the building you see very closely to that particular stage there is called Bed House. The first king in Osogbo in Osun State, his name is called King of Ataoja. This is how they built his first palace, and then that's how we try to replicate it here in this place as well too. And this is our gallery as well too. And then this second bed house, as you can see here as well too. And looking at this bed house here, there are different things you can see around it, like to decorate it, like that particular door there. On those doors, as you can see this door here, in the olden days, we normally document story at that time by either documenting them on wood or on a stone. Several things that happen in the land, sometimes the king will just tell an artist to document them on a wood or on a stone. Sometimes they just carve it. Like as you can see this one, there's actually a particular 3-story on this one now. This and that story, this one and this one. And when you go visit the king can take you around the palace, the wall, the building, and then even though the door, and then the pillar of the palace have several stories to tell. And you and king can sit by one door like this, and he can be telling you the story at that time for like 4 to 3 hours. Because the story that the analysis is compressed on this one particular one like this, is something that happened in the land for about 100 years. And looking at this one as well too, you can see an artwork placed here by one of our artists. His name is called Boson. He's trying to showcase about how life has been, how civilization has come to this world now. But in the olden days, that everything you're trying to see now has been in existence before. But it's just like a skeleton, just like a sketches. But now, all of them are being come to reality by people who actually think that those things can be in existence. So, artically expression, something you think about or what you see, that's where how you can achieve an artwork from. And looking at our feet here, we actually have several stone there, stone carving in that place. In the olden days as well too, I told you that one of the ways normally document the story in the olden days by putting them on a wood or putting them on a stone. Like this one you see here, this one is Songo, but this is little version of it. And this Songo, little version, and then the other bigger one here, this one too, actually it's another Songo, this is a bigger version of it. Songo is the 3rd king in Odi-Oyo at that time, and at that time, he's one of the most powerful kings, also one of the aggressive kings in that time.
Shango was a royal ancestor, and he was also the 3rd king of the Oyo kingdom. He succeeded Ajaka, son of Oramino. His symbol is a double-headed ass, which represents swift and balanced justice. He is the owner of the Bata, double-headed drums, as well as the arts of music, dance, and entertainment in the Yoruba culture. Songo brought about prosperity to the Oyo Empire during his reign, associated with the sacred animal, the ram, and the colors of red and white.
Yes, so now you can see this is our main gallery, mini gallery, and then the main gallery will go to the main gallery soon now. And this is our CEO. Her name is Chief Mrs. Oyenike Monica Okundaye. This is Monica Okundaye, an artist, entrepreneur, personnel, and also an art collector. As I've trained a lot of young people, more than 25,000 so far, so good, both here locally in Nigeria and in Africa, and also across the world. And right now, actually, as you can see her, she actually has a lot of titles, and also is a cultural and tourism and ambassador as well too. So has worked with so many organizations that have trained a lot of people as well too. And we have 4 galleries in Nigeria, which is in Lagos, our headquarters, and then Osogbo Gallery. We have another gallery in Ogidi in Kogi State, and then this is Abuja Art Gallery. And then in Abuja Art Gallery, we have several artistic work like stone carving, we have wood carving, we have painting, which is oil color, we have metal sculpture, we have mixed media, we have craft works, we have painting, calabash design, craft work, and there are so on and so forth. So, and several artistic work that we have here have several things that they are projecting. Just like this one that you can see now, this one is called a throne chair. In the olden days, this is how the king normally sits on the throne. and then their cabinet member used to sit down around them, and the king have to preside over what they have to do with affairs of the kingdom. So, and at that time. And looking at this one up here, this is actually a work of one of our famous artists. His name is called Joseph Eze. Joseph Eze actually is one of the person actually so talented in Nigeria as well too. And he does painting, sculpture, and then craft and some other things like that. Like this one now, you can see that he cut slippers and tag it together. And each of those slippers you see, the pit actually represents a person. He tried to showcase how Lagos used to be very crowded. And if you look at it, you can see some houses on it, few houses, but a lot of people. Try to showcase how there are so many people in Lagos, and then sometimes most of them thrown out in the street, and there are few houses in Lagos. That's the kind of story that he tried to tell about Lagos with this one as well too. And if you look at up here, you can see Calabash there. You know, Calabash, looking at the Calabash, and then the story behind Calabash is actually so famous and so versatile with us in Africa and also in Nigeria. For example, there are several tribes and several people that they do several things with Calabash as well too. For example, if you go to the southwest part of Nigeria, they preserve cola inside the calabash at that time. And if you go to eastern part of Nigeria, they use calabash and then they use to heat food or to fetch water. If you go to the northern part of Nigeria, they use to sell nono and efra as well. And then if you go to the Melu belt of Nigeria, you can see them sometimes they cut the inside and they float on it to swim across the river as well too. And also, if you go to the southern part of Nigeria, most times they just cut the part and use to carry the water from stream as well too. So several people and several tribes have several things normally use calabash for here in Nigeria and also across the Africa as well too. You can see. And looking at this one, this is a fiberglass work. The fiberglass is a content, actually it's a liquid content, but when we mix it together after it being solidified, then it can become solid like this. But before you achieve it with artwork, the first thing we do is that we first create the mold. After we created the mold, how you want the artwork to look like, either like a human being, like an image, or like a god, or anything at all, or like a fruit. So when you create your mold with your either cement, clay, or POP, and then you mix the content of fiberglass, then you put inside your mold. After that, it becomes solid. After it becomes solidified, then you can bring out the mold out of it, then it becomes artwork like this. So this work is actually not heavy as you see it because it's a fiberglass method as you can see it as well. And looking at this one, most of the things you see here actually trying to showcase our indigenous work that we normally do in the olden days. Like this woman you see now, actually went to the farm and then she brought out the cuttings, seeds, and then so she converted the cotton seeds to the thread for somebody to use it and then convert it and weave the fabrics like this, because this one is called asoke. These are actually weaving clothes. Weaving clothes actually in several parts of Nigeria normally use weaving clothes, and there's actually some people that's call their indigenous work as well too. Like if you go southwest, some eastern part of Nigeria, they have a Akriti, and then if you go southwest, they have asoke. And also, even though if you go to the north central as well too, most of them also they do asoke as well too. So and like this one is called Iyalaro. Like, in the olden days, our early model have different ways normally used to design their own fabric as well too, without you even consulting or buy anything like chemical, synthetic dye or wax like that. So as well too, what they do is that they go to the farm and they get the cassava paste, animal cassava. They sow the cassava into the water, and then after it becomes soaked, then they dry it. After it becomes dry, then convert it to paste. They call it amala. So that particular paste, they make it watery, so that they call it adreleco, and they get their tools. The tool they use in that time is they use chicken feather, they use piece of broom and small knife. The chicken feather, they used to do anything that have to do with design, either circle or anything like a cuff. And then they use pieces of broom to make anything that have to do with line. And another thing they use a small dot there, they normally use something like a small knife to make this one. Now that one have been completed, they spread out the sun for it to dry on it. And what cassava paste did the fabric is that actually it resists some part of the fabric from the dye. All the part that those parts resist, to touch the fabric, the dye will not penetrate inside. So everything they draw on the fabric is that particular one is going to stay like that when it takes to the color. And the other part that does not touch by the paste is going to go for the color you dye it to at that time. After they do that, then they soak the normal water and then they scrape away the paste, and then their pattern comes out, and then they turn to the eleko. They do in the olden days like that. So, and here too, we have a metal sculpture. In olden days, there are different ways we do communicate to ourselves in the olden days. One of the ways we normally communicate to ourselves, I'm going to show you in the main gallery, is through the signs and symbols as well too. But one of the ways the king do communicate in that time is through the town crier. Today, if a king or governor or president wanted to communicate to the people under his domain, what they do is that they either go to their SA media, social media, or media houses, but not so in the olden days. What they do is that they normally go through somebody called tank crier. The tank crier will move around and beat this gong in his hand. As soon as people heard him, they would move out in mass, they try to know what try to say, because they knew that the king has sent him to them. So, and what he does is that he passes through the message of the king to the masses, to the people of his domain. And sometimes he may not even talk. What he do, you can use signs, because this gong in his hand, something comes to disturb your sleep. You can just beat it twice. So when you beat it twice, you know what tries to communicate to you. Either a particular market has been cancelled, or everybody will assemble as a flake square that night. Sometimes it can be in such forms. And this is a mask. When we look at the mask like this, the first thing that actually comes to our mind most times is probably is a masquerade. But there's much more attached to the mask like this more than masquerade, because in the olden days, anytime somebody deserves accolade in the land, the king can actually present this one to somebody in form of award. And at that time, the symbol that will be on the mask will determine how powerful that person is in the land. For example, if you look at this one, and the symbol of this one now is a fish. They present this one to somebody who's like a peacemaker in the land in the olden days. And some other symbol could be like elephant or like a lion. If yours is have like a symbol of elephant, that means probably you are a king in the land at that time, or you are a warrior at that time as well too. So, or if probably you are a market woman too, your own can have like a chicken, because that means you are harmless in the olden days. So several things, several symbols and signs communicate several things to people in the olden days. That means if you go to somebody's house and then you look at that person, then probably the person put the mask in the house. You can actually tame and try to know what the person trying the message trying to pass across to the people through the symbol or the sign that in that particular either mask or belt in the olden days, even up to now. And then here we have another work which is fiberglass, but there are several stories that the artists normally do, because when you look at artwork generally, there are several artists with several ideas of several methods they normally use to produce their works, and several titles which they project through their expression, because several artists get their several inspiration from several places. Like this one now, an artist is trying to showcase how they normally do the Igbo traditional marriage. The tribe in Nigeria, from eastern part of Nigeria, called Igbo. Popular one of the majority tribe in Nigeria as well, like that too. So anytime they want to have their traditional marriage, the bride, which is the wife to be, will normally carry, the father of the bride will carry the content, like a palm wine, give him inside his own, and say, okay, go and give it to your husband. Whatever I give it to one to, I will know this is your husband. And then sometimes even talk like a drama. They also have to hide the way people come and say, oh, it's me. They say, no, it's not you. Until it's now later finally find the husband and then give it to the husband. And by that time, it's going to kneel down to show how bride normally respect their groom in Africa as well too. So after that one, the bride receives from her and then also spray her money. That's how we do in the eastern part of Nigeria.
Nike Art Gallery is a teller of history and time, from wooden pieces to batiks and aldirez, melter and tires, stone stories you can tell, several stories and interests in Nigeria and across Africa from just one piece. One of the valuable things about Nike Art Gallery is the fact that she dedicates her time, space, knowledge in teaching and mentoring young artists in different aspects of artistry. Batik is an older than history. Batik is well represented, ancient art form and craft. It is similarly process used to make African print fabric, but instead of using industrial printing machinery, it is all done by the hand. The fabrics are used to make traditional African clothing, as well as the modern Afrocentric clothing, accessories and home wares. Batik is a wax-resist dyeing technique that first began in Indonesia. A design is printed or drawn onto plain cotton fabric using melted wax.
Okay, my name is Ayemode Babatunde. I'm one of the instructors in Nike Art Gallery. And what makes me to come to the Nike Art Gallery is to know more about the design and how to design in clothes. And this is my 6th year of being in Nike Art Gallery. Then I study a lot to create a designs. To do a design for a customer, you can bring a design that we can do, and I learn more to produce a design. I can just sit down and create design on my own. That's what I've been doing since my 6th year of being in Nike Art Gallery. And this design you are seeing here, we call it batik. And each design has a name. Quite alright. Each designer has a name, and this one we call it Beleke. That is the Yoruba name. We call it Beleke, and this one we call it Dot. And that is how we just have a names of different designs. And as you can see, we have different type of designs. But this one is just, we call it Beleke, that is talking drum, and here we have dots.
So when we design it now, after what we do now is that we take it to the desired color, any color we want to dye it to. Either maybe red, green, yellow, any color we want to dye it to at all. And after we dye it, what we do is that then we soak it in the hot water in order to remove this wax from the fabric. And after we remove the wax from the fabric, what we do is that we boil the water and then we soak the fabric into it, and then we use the stick to bring out the fabric. So we quickly wash away the wax off the fabric, also bring it out. And then after that one, we dry it and then it becomes the fabric like the batik like this. And for example, if you want like several other color, beautiful other color for most time we just import it, but this beautiful color we have in Africa, which is called indigo color. So when we go to our dye pit there, I'm going to explain how we normally process the indigo in Africa. This leaf now is called indigo leaf. And then this is indigo pot, this is a dye pit. In the olden days, our early mother, at that time, they don't use anything dye that is synthetic or even any color that is synthetic. What they do is that they go to the farm and then they get the cotton. So that particular cotton, they remove the seed and then convert it to thread. And then from the thread, then they convert it to as inside. And after that one, what they do is that they design on it with cassava paste. And after design on it, and then they go to the farm and they get this leaf, which is called indigo leaf. And then this leaf, they pound it with the mortar and the pestle, and they process this leaf. They need two separate pots to process it. One pot like it to soak it, another pot to process the argan, which is what they do is that they look at coal pot, and then the dry one they burn to ashes and put another pot and perforate the pot under. So when they perforate the pot under, they add water to it, and the water they achieve from it, they soak it, they add the water to this leaf, they soak it already, and leave it for 11 days. After that 11 days, it's going to be fermented. Now being fermented, when you dip your fabric into it, you achieve blue color. So the fourth time you dip your fabric, you have to have a lighter blue. So the more you dip it, the more it's getting darker until it goes deeper, it becomes an indigo color, like a blue-black. So, and after that one has been done, and then what they do on the fabric, that they use cassava paste to design on the fabric, they soak into the pure water, a ton of clean, chemicalless water, and then they get a knife to scrape out the paste out of the fabrics, and then the pattern will come out. Not like the waxing method that soak this one to the hot water as we do in the olden days like that. So they use it to do several things in occasion, and then most of the symbol that you need actually have several things that can represent. Because in the olden days, somebody is married, there's a particular symbol you put on and they will know you have married. In the olden days, if you are going for war, there's a particular symbol and pattern that can be on your fabric, they will know you are going for war or a burial or for a wedding as well too.
Nike Art Gallery is a combination of beauty, history, and the future.
Thank you so much, Atlantic TV, for coming to Nike Research Center for Art and Culture, Abuja Art Gallery today, and then for cover us and come and interview us, and also to share with you about our company, about our CEO, which is Chief Mrs. Oyenike Monica Okundayi. On behalf of everybody, I'm Abimbola Oluwalowo, the workshop manager at Nike Art Gallery Abuja.